So let's get started, everyone. I am so excited to go over this presentation today, which is Introduction to Branding. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And I would like to start off by saying that as a short introduction of who I am a brand strategist and designer and the founder of BM Design. It's based in West Palm Beach County. I'm also a member of 1909, and they are an entrepreneur, creative local group, which is of many different businesses, really a variety of different backgrounds. But what we do is we like to not only help each other, but also help those in the community with any needs that they have as well. Also, I am a Squarespace Circle member, which means that I'm an expert at Squarespace. Just a note, if you do have a website and you are hiring someone to be able to do it for you on a particular platform, I always suggest that you hire someone who is an expert at that particular platform so you can get the most bang out of your buck. And they'll also be able to use their expertise to make sure that they're able to execute what you need for your website on that platform. Also, I'm a wannabe plant mama. I try to have plants. I love plants. I love greenery. I'm originally from Ohio, so when I came here to Florida and seeing all the different variety of plants here, plant life, I've tried to keep some alive, but that doesn't always happen for a very long time. But also, I'm a soon-to-be human mama, so if you see me drinking water, a little out of breath, it's about to happen soon. So I'm very excited about that. Also, I'm the oldest of 8 kids, which has helped me to be able to, I say for me, my practice and brand strategy and learning how to talk with many different people, and also to making sure that what they need is catered to directly to them because everybody is different. And I love HGTV and Food Network. I'm actually the digital designer for the South Beach Food and Wine Festival for the 3rd year in a row. That happens, they're mainly known for being down in South Beach, but I work with them. I love food. I love home and garden, and I love learning how things work. And that also ties into sometimes of who I work with as well. But before we also continue, I would like to thank Lake Worth Beach Community Redevelopment Agency in hosting this workshop for you guys so that you can have it for free. This is one of 2 of the workshops. The second one will be next Wednesday for website design. They really want to make sure that they have something that can help you in this particular area of your business. That will help you to understand how to brand better and how to make an impact on your business goals going into the new year. So what will we be discussing today? Well, we'll be discussing branding, what it is, what does it mean, why is it important, what are the elements of branding, which a lot of businesses, they focus on the visual of what the brand is, but how can they use that to actually use it for branding? And also to a better brand means better marketing, because if you have a business, you want to market yourself, but how can you do that in a better way? And then also I'll briefly go over what the download that you'll have as a resource that can be very helpful to you when it comes to takeaways and things to be mindful of when it comes to branding. And this is a quote from Marty Neumeyer, that branding is a process of connecting good strategy with good creativity. So it's not just what you're putting out there, but it's also, does it have a strategy as well? So what is branding? Well, how I'd like to describe branding is it's a method of forming a unique, distinctive brand through various touch points. There's more ways to describe branding, but it's important for you to know that how you present your business in every aspect is branding. It's an actual action that you take. And also too, it's also a way of putting any effort or a program that you have in place to build a brand. It's the process of brand building. And by the way, can you guys hear me okay? If you can give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. So again, thank you. So again, it's an action. It shapes your brand, the perception of it. It helps you to convert interest to repeat customers, right? Because you don't want just someone just maybe coming to you once, especially if you offer products or a service base. If they could keep coming to you again and again, that would be nice, right? And it also helps you to make your brand stand out. When it comes to branding, it is about showcasing who you are as a business. It also projects the message of who you serve. Your branding should also address the problems that you're solving for your customers, or what's the benefit of their service or offer that you have. Branding helps you to express the value for your services or products. And branding also helps to give your business a personality and a voice. So you want to make sure that your branding is going to share the value as clearly as possible of who you are, who you serve, why does it matter? And I say clearly, and we'll get to that in a little bit on why that really, really matters, of how you actually execute it, being presented clearly across. But also too, you don't want your branding to be something that's muddled and doesn't really showcase who your brand is. So again, branding is an action, okay? It's across your different touch points, which I'll go over in a moment. But what does it mean? What does it mean for your business? Well, it's actually making a connection with your desired customers in a meaningful way that goes way beyond the logo. I will say this, that when you do have a business, the importance of having a logo, I think these days has been blown out of proportion of how big that plays into your business of attracting customers. Yes, it is an important piece, but it's not the only piece of your business. So for example, when it comes to a business like Nike, a lot of people know the brand Nike and they know it by that swoosh logo. However, it's taken years and decades and marketing and a lot of branding as well for it to only be recognized by that logo just by itself when somebody sees it. But in their conception in the beginning, it was, if somebody seen that swoosh sign, they wouldn't have known Nike to be what it is as it is today. So I want to say that you have to go beyond the logo to make a meaningful connection with your brand. And when you think of Nike, many people, at least to me, there's a lot of things connected to that logo. The messaging that they have, their mission. It has, they're about athleticism, that you can do it. Right now they have a big campaign about, just getting out there and playing and having fun with fitness and being active and doing things. So it's not just that logo itself, but it's also what does it represent? And with their branding, they are able to make sure that anytime that logo is seen, that people know and think about that message. So you want to keep in mind how your brand is being perceived by people. When they see your logo, do you truly know that they know what the meaning is behind that logo, behind that brand? Do they know who you are, who you represent, what your mission is just by that logo itself? Especially in the beginning, they may not. So you will want to go beyond that by making sure that you understand that your branding is not just the logo itself, but it's other things as well, besides just the logo. And so you want to use branding to cultivate that perception. You can't force someone to think of you as the way that you are. However, you can help to shape it by what you're putting out there. And anything you create for your brand is branding. So it's not just the logo, but it's also your mission statement, your strategy for brainstorming an ad campaign and how that's going to play out. And it's the action of how do you use all of that in the various touch points, again, that we'll get to talk about later. And when you are using branding, it helps separate yourself from your competition. It helps build trust with your clients and also to grow your business. It's a very powerful tool that can help for you to have credibility, attract the right people, which I'll go more into in a moment as well, and set the right tone for your particular business. And I want to emphasize on your particular business. So you want to make sure anything you're doing is very specific to you and for you and your audience and your brand. So before going to why brand is important, does anybody have any questions or about what I just went over, or is everybody following along with me? Okay, just want to make sure I check in with you guys. Okay, great, thank you. So why is branding important? Well, if you have a business, you want your ideal clients to choose you out of the masses, right? And branding helps you to do that. You want to also make sure that you are encouraging them to have the right conclusion of that you're the right brand for them, and that you are attracting not attracting ones that would be wrong for your business. A lot of times I hear from different business owners is that they may not be attracting the right type of clients to their business because they may be getting the wrong perception. Sometimes it may be, oh, people think my prices are too high, or they thought it was this, but then when they came to me for my service or product, I told them what it was, and they was like, well, that didn't match what I saw online, or et cetera, et cetera. So anything that you're branding, you want to make sure that it's going to attract the right customers for your business and that they align. You also want to make sure that your branding, that your brand is being perceived by not by chance. So by what you're putting out there, that's going to help to create the right perception, and that it's not going to be based off of, well, I thought you were this way, but you're not, as I just explained before. Brand also helps build brand recognition. And I like to say this a lot, and I'll show this sign again, but try to avoid shiny new object syndrome. There are so many different techniques and tools out there, and people who are in the same industry as you, and they're doing all kinds of different things that may be working for their business. However, a lot of times we may give up quickly in trying something out for our own business, that we don't allow ourselves to give it time to actually work out. Also too, when you put something out there about your business, maybe once a month or once every quarter, and it's because there's so many different businesses out there that may offer the same services that you offer, or because we all have a short attention span, we want to make sure that we're creating good repetition habits so that we can build good brand recognition. And I'll dive into that a little bit deeper later. But you can't just put something out there once. Rather it's on social media, rather it's on your website, anything that you may be advertising when you're talking to people. And when you say the same things or show the same thing repeatedly, that helps to build brand recognition. Also too, you want to use branding to help create a consistent brand experience. And that would be across any of your touch points that anybody interacts with your brand. Now, some of your touch points may be a website or a business card, a brochure. They may hear a radio ad. They may see a flyer out somewhere. If you have a cohesive branding, as far as the messaging that's on all across of those, maybe colors, your logo, or maybe even the letters, the fonts, the way they look, and it looks exactly the same. That helps to create a consistent brand experience, even when they're talking with you, and the way that you say things, and making sure that they feel comfortable. How does that also translate as well? That can help to build brand, create brand experience too. Another point is creating an emotional connection with the ideal client that can turn them into a loyal customer. People are driven by emotion when it comes to a brand. And that's something that some businesses fail to want to use as a part of helping them to actually connect with their audience. But what is the emotional connection that you can actually use for someone to use to want to come to you for your services or product? If you have a food business, is it because that your food is healthy and makes people feel good? Do you have a connection when it comes to being green? Do you have a connection of like that you're doing something that's good and beneficial? Maybe using farmer markets, that's something important to them. What is that emotional connection? And then also how can that help them to be a loyal customer? When you have a loyal customer, they will refer you and be an advocate of your business to other people as well. Now, what I'm going to show is some examples about brands wanting to gain attention. And again, if you're in business, you got some serious competition because most likely you're not the only person in your industry doing what you do, right? So branding helps you to establish the ways in which you are different, special, and unique. And it shows your customers why they should, again, work with you instead of your competitors. When you're on social media, post on social media, there's websites out there. You're one of 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, right? And when your branding is not consistent, when your branding is lost, your message is lost. Well, this is what happens. You get lost in the sauce. You get lost among the masses that you're clumped in. But when you have a branding that allows you to stand out, they'll be able to quickly recognize you because your brand is consistent, because your brand and message they connect with. They're able to see that you would benefit them more than going to somebody else. It's like when you go to a grocery store and you're in an aisle. I love cereal. I love cereal. When I go to a cereal aisle and I have to choose among the sea of different boxes to choose from, well, there's certain characteristics that I'm looking for. There's a certain flavor that I'm looking for. And then there may be, like, let's say, for instance, I love Reese's Puff cereal. That's been my go-to snack right now. But I like theirs, even though there's other brands. They have the healthy kind. They may have an off-brand. They may have a different name brand peanut butter chocolate cereal. But because of the branding that Reese's Puffs has, if throughout commercials, through their messaging, through their colors, it stands out. I recognize it over and over again. It goes back to my childhood memory and all those other things. I'm able to spot it immediately without really having to pay attention to everything else. Even though I love cereal, there's many other choices I can choose, but it stands out. And that's what you want your brand and your business to do when it's using branding. How is it going to make sure that you are standing out and being perceived in a way not by chance? And a lot of it has to do with the repetition, with being consistent in the different areas that people are seeing your brand over and over again. Now, we're going to get into brand elements, which most people are familiar with, is the logo. But what else is there just besides the logo itself? Anything you create to cultivate how your business is being perceived by customers, it's going to be your mission statement, your vision. It may be a brand guideline or a roadmap, which is a document that helps basically for you to go in one direction of executing what you need to do versus going all over the place trying to execute what you want to do. It really helps to have guidelines and a roadmap so that you can stay focused and keep doing the things that you love. But also too, you may have your logo, websites, additional assets that make sense for your business. And having those brand elements, you use that to help control to help people perceive and experience your brand. And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach as well. Not everybody needs the same elements. That's why I put additional assets. One brand may need a pattern for their business. One brand may need signage. Another brand may need to have multiple fonts to look a certain way because they have certain different products or service lines that they want to be instantly recognized. And it's this deeper than that, but there's no one size fits all for your approach to branding and what elements needs to be there. It really depends on your brand and who it's going to be connected to. And that's how you're going to decide what branding assets or elements that you may need, and how are you going to use that to create different assets for your brand or marketing collateral that may be for online, digitally, or in print. And just to show you some examples of branding that can look different for any business. For this one, they are a makeup artist, but they want to focus on authenticity. Sorry, sometimes my country tongue gets a little tongue-tied. But it's called Aesthetic Sage. They wanted to make sure that they focused on inner beauty and calmness, and they wanted to make sure that they had this perception of tranquil feelings and vibe and whatnot. So their colors and the way that they present their brand is going to look different from somebody else. And so they may have business cards, their website, they may have stationery so they can write, notes to their clients, maybe as reminders or to say thank you or to say you're beautiful as you are, and etc. These were pieces that were important to them. Versus this brand, well, This is a brand concept that was designed for the West Palm Beach, Center for Technology, for Arts and Technology. Well, they wanted to have the colors of the city, and they wanted to make sure that that tied in with them, but also too had a sense of business, how they're going to use their elements. They might want to have wall applications, totes, things that make sense for their business, to promote themselves, and also for people to leave away with when they come to that technology center. And then we have Whole Story Studio, and they work strictly with audio books and creating that. So anything that they wanted to have, even in imagery can also be a branded element as well. It has to do with audio. So that's what they're going to talk about all the time. And that's what their niche is. And they want to make sure that they have this, this look and feel that wasn't so bland, but also calm at the same time. And so we worked together and we made sure that every element that was presented for them was able to match the vibe and also connect with their particular audience for that audiobook world. And again, these are all 3 different brands. They have different branding elements and used in different ways that make sense for them. And they know that because they know who their customers are. They have a plan of action. They make sure that the colors that they're using are consistent throughout the different various touch points that they have, whether it's online or in print. And then also too, with their messaging as well, that's also something that they make sure is connected. As you can see here, Be Here Now is on their website, on the business card, Be Here Now. There's different small ways that you can create connections from print to online, maybe by reusing your messaging in different areas that your brand is being interactive with people. But that can also help to create brand consistency too. The next thing we're going to talk about is a better brand means better marketing. So now that we've gone over what branding is, what it means, your branding elements, why is it important? Well, you want to ask yourself, what are my objectives for my brand? And how am I going to brand myself? Is it going to align with those objectives? If it's going to get me closer to my objectives? When it comes to marketing yourself, rather digitally or in print, is this method going to help me reach the objectives that I have? Is it going, what your objectives to get more attention to your business? Is it sales? Is it to get leads? Is it to do what? So is the marketing method going to help you to get to those objectives? Also, too, importantly, is where are the people I'm trying to reach and connect with? Again, try to avoid shiny new object syndrome. There we go. There's so many different platforms out there with social media, like TikTok is a new thing now. But is your audience on TikTok? Is your audience on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they not even on social media and they just like to look up things online? Are they on YouTube? If you know where your audience is, that's going to help you to create branding for that particular platform or that particular method to reach them. Because if you're going all over the place to try to reach your audience, you may be wasting time and money, especially if you are paying for advertisement services on those different platforms. And even if it's on radio, you know, or some people may put things on a bus or wherever the case may be. Is it going to reach the people that you're connecting with? Is it going to be helpful? Also, too, is there a strategy? In the beginning of this workshop, we talked about, I talked about a message or a quote that says that good strategy and good creativity. So what is the strategy? You know, are you introducing yourself and then saying bye for me? Or is there a actual milestones that go from, hi, my name is Brittani, to, hi, I can offer you brand strategy and services, and this is what's going to cost. But what are the milestones in between, from them getting to know you to actually buying from you? How are you going to build the trust factors and credibility? How are you going to make sure they understand who you are in between before they actually can say, this is the product and the service for me, product or service for me? So how are you going to use this marketing? You know, are you going to do it for a couple of months and say, okay, it didn't work? But we got to remember, sometimes people don't trust, you know, somebody by first glance. You know, if you think about it, you may see the same advertisement on TV 17 times within a few hours. You know, and that may be for a few reasons. One, because, you know, it's a lot of people watching TV, and you may have seen it 17 times, but somebody in another place may have only seen it maybe a couple of times because they're just flipping through the channel or whatnot. But how's it going to be used? How are you going to make sure you actually make that connection? And does it make sense? Does it make sense for you to make this investment? Because it is your money that you're using a lot of times to create all these branded elements and pieces, and then to market yourself. And it's also going to cost you your time, not just money, but also time as well. Is it going to make sense? Is it going to move the needle for you? And then also make sure that you understand that it's going to take some time, especially if you're new in business, to build that brand recognition, to create that consistency, to create that trust by your branding. And so those elements that you're using allows you to create the tangible brand deliverables that are seen by customers. So that may be your website, and these are different touch points, by the way, your website, your packaging, if you have a product, business cards, shirts, you know, especially if we ever are able to, again, really be able to be in person a lot more, right? When you're networking with people, are you going to have shirts? Are you going to have merchandise maybe? Are you going to have social media graphics and digital assets that make sense for your business? You'll be able to use your branding elements in a more strategic way. This is just an example of a brand guideline for whole story studios, their different colors, how they can actually use their branding, because what you may use in your website and your packaging, they may require different types of your brand elements. So you want to make sure that you have brand elements in black and white, because it may save you costs when you are marketing. Also to time as well. You want to think about that as far as where you have your branding elements. Are they going to be able to produce it? Produce the marketing method that you are trying to do. And doesn't make sense for your business and how you're going to connect to your clients. It's something to think about. Also too, as well, when you have these branding touch points, the website, which is digital, the packaging, which is in print, but all of those branding touch points not just your logo may be on there, but also your messaging from one to another. Again, you may have the similar colors when it comes to your website packaging, your business cards, your shirts. You may have the same tagline. You may have the same messaging, telling people on those different touch points, letting them know like, this is who you serve and this is why. And that helps to create a cohesive branding experience when all of these elements have similarities across them. And again, that can be achieved in different ways, whether it's the color, whether it's the logo, whether it's the messaging, different elements. And also too, just to note, you don't have to use every single element on every single piece of collateral that you create for your business. What you want to create is consistency and experience when they see it from one place to another. So it's okay if you may use a different color of your logo on a particular collateral. For example, I know it's kind of hard to see here on this pencil, but it's black and white. And this is one of their variations of their logo, but they have it here in color. Well, it may make sense to have it in black and white on the pencil for cost. Maybe they have like 1,000 pencils being created, and if it was in color, it may cost way more than being in black and white. But just because it's in black and white and this is in color doesn't mean that they are two different brands, but the similarity is that it's the lockup of the logo itself, if that makes sense. So it's okay to use a variety of your brand on different collaterals as long as it makes sense and it shows the similarities. And the next thing I want to talk about as well is this, that brand lasts a long time when you know who you are as a brand and making branding decisions easier to market whatever it is that you offer. Knowing your brand allows you to make better branding decisions. It also helps you save money and also save time and make money. When you understand how branding should work for you, how you should be using your brand elements, how you should be using your messaging. When you know your customers, that helps you as well to save money and time. Because if you are creating a collateral that doesn't make sense, let's say it is t-shirts, for example, for that you're creating. Well, what is that is that t-shirt something that your customers need? Is it something that they are going to really buy from you right now? Does it make sense? If not, you don't want to waste your time and money creating t-shirts, but maybe you may want to use your money and resource in a way that they need to get to know you. So you may use your money towards marketing services on a platform digitally that can start to get you to be known. And then once you're known and you start to create that connection with your clients and you have a lot of people who connect very well with your brand, then maybe you can start introducing merchandise and collateral like t-shirts, but doesn't make sense for right now what you're doing. Also too, it's important to know that a branding is not something that's a one and done thing. It's an ongoing process during the lifetime of the business. And it's a practice that you have to continue to do over and over again to reach your ideal clients, to build a trust with them, convert them into buyers, and create a tribe that will actually promote your business. So I mentioned earlier about the TV commercials. They're not going to just show the commercial once. It's okay to keep telling people and those different touch points about your offer that you have. You know, what is the benefits of your product or your service? You know, are there testimonials about your product and your service that you can share? Are there what continue to talk about different business benefits of it, and put it out there more than once, because people can sometimes have a short-term memory, but also too, when you're putting out your product and services that you have, try not to change up the design and the look and feel of what you're putting out there to market yourself. Because sometimes what people may do is they'll put something out once, maybe on social media, and if it didn't get enough attention that they feel they should have got, they may change it to a whole nother color that has nothing to do with their brand. They just seen somebody else social media post that they liked and try to mimic it and put it as there, but then because they switched it and it shows a whole different style and look and feel from what their brand really is, well, they're not going to recognize that that's you. So give what you're doing a chance to be consistent, so that way they can continue to pick you up as your brand. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that at the end of the day, that your branding is there to completely support what you want, and also to help you and continue to keep doing your business. Because you don't want branding that's actually going to distract from your business. You don't want branding that's not going to allow the right people to connect with you. That's not going to be very helpful to you at all. So we are going to be doing some Q&A in a moment about if there's any questions, comments that you have. But just as a reminder, the next workshop is going to be next week. I'll going over web design and also common mistakes to avoid. Also too, there will be a follow-up email after work hops, not work. There is going to be a follow-up email as well that's going to have this particular workshop replay and also resources as well with some key takeaways, brand elements that you may need about customers, connection, and ways that you can shape how your brand is being perceived by people. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming. I want to thank you for your attention as well. And also too, I want to thank the city of Lake Worth Beach as well for having all of us here and providing this opportunity that we can all grow and learn together. So I'm going to stop and share my screen share. I'm going to stop recording.